All right, we are live. That's right, we are live here on Monday night. If you are getting this on the YouTube stratosphere, or you are getting this on X, formerly Twitter, the Rye Bread Instagram, Facebook, maybe checking this out on a Facebook group. It doesn't really matter where you're getting it. Me and Hannah are good with that as long as you're liking, subscribing, and all of that good shit. If you're checking this out on the podcast and you're like, wait a second, you recorded this last night? I could have had my thoughts and questions submitted and maybe read at the end of the podcast. That's right. So that's why you check out the podcast live here on YouTube. And we don't have anything to really bitch about. And doesn't that feel good as a Mariners fan? I mean, last episode, the Mariners avoid a sweep from the Detroit Tigers after taking care of business with the Philadelphia Phillies. Now you have the New York Mets, who have come into town, one of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team. They are the hottest team since Grimace threw out the first pitch there in the Mets game. Mets come into this series with a better record than the Mariners, and the Mariners sweep them. The Mariners have a historic pitching performance by the pitching staff. Not a big surprise. It seems like we say that all the time, but here's the big difference. The anchor game of this series was on Sunday Night Baseball. And if you didn't know this already, first time since 2004 that the ESPN crew has been up to Seattle on a Sunday night and put them on Sunday Night Baseball. That's insane to think about. And of course, our stars shine in the spotlights. Things couldn't have been better this weekend. And on top of that, the cherry on top of that, Victor Robles signs a 2-year extension just earlier today. And we're going to be back and we're going to be talking about this and all other good Mariners shit right after this.
Get ready to play hardball in the Kingdom.
Take me to the ball game. I want to see the Ants. The Mariners are playing hardball. Did it again and again and again. Did it again.
Princess Tours, the vacation company, brings you the best show in baseball when the San Diego Chicken plays hardball with the Seattle Mariners and the Baltimore Orioles tonight in the Kingdom.
Supercross this weekend in the Kingdom. The Coors Beer Supercross doubleheader. Get ready, Seattle, this Saturday night at 7:30 and Sunday afternoon at 2. The 1988 ANA Supercross Tour. Motorcycle Mania on an incredible dirt battleground that treats man and machine the same way. With absolutely no respect. See the best. National champion Jeff Ward. Former champion Ricky Johnson. Tickets at all Ticketmaster locations, including the Bond, Tower Records and Video, and participating Honda dealers. The Coors Beer Supercross.
All right, Hanno, I still got to call in, and I think I got to call the bank now. I still have not gotten those Supercross tickets. No information from Tower Records. In fact, that phone number, nobody answers. Anyways, we are excited to be back. This is a peaches and cream episode, Hanno. Things are peaches and cream right now. You got to go down there on Friday night. I went on Saturday night. We enjoyed the broadcast on Sunday on ESPN, and we'll get to all of that good shit that happened down there. But let's lead off right now with the news that just came out a little bit before we came on to do this podcast, a couple hours before, to be honest. But Victor Robles, Mariners signed him to a 2-year extension. As far as I know, I'll pull this up from Seattle Times. It's going to keep him here until 2027. So that kind of like lines up with the window with Arozarena. You're obviously still going to have Julio. That's, after in 2025 and 2026, you're going to have to make some big decisions with, the core, with Logan, with Kirby, obviously big dumper, but this kind of aligns them with Victor Robles here in this window.
Yeah, kind of surprising that not that they did it, but after kind of failing out here for the last couple of years, to have him do pretty well for a month or so and then to sign him. But good for him. Gives him some stability, some cash, and he likes it here, so that's a good thing.
You sound a little bit, I don't know. And I think we kind of talked about this on the last episode or a couple episodes ago. One of these episodes where I'm drooling over Victor Robles, where you're like, you'd like to see more before there's a commitment. Do you still feel that way?
No, I mean, it's really not that much money, but I mean, I'm not pulling him in for a starter's role. I mean, I'd like to see, he's a great player, spark plug. But if we could get more power or a different type of outfielder, I'd sure be fine with that and have him be a fourth outfielder. But it's definitely nice stability, no doubt.
Yeah, I'll pull it up, and I think what you're saying here, and I agree with you. This does not mean that the Mariners should not go out and look for another outfielder to go along with Julio and Randy, for sure. If Victor Robles is your fourth outfielder, your rotational outfielder that can play all three positions, hit at the top of the lineup. Maybe you got a better team next year. You got to hit him down at the bottom of the lineup. He's getting, as far as the money, where it's not that big of a commitment, kind of Dylan Moore money, right? So I like the move. I think you like it too, but I totally get it. Like, this shouldn't be your answer right now. If he keeps being this way and can change that narrative, then all the power goes to him. But overall, we like this move.
Yeah, well said.
Let's just take a look at what they're talking about here on Seattle Times. If you're on the YouTube, you can read along with us. Obviously, Divish has got this one, but let's just go down here. It's 2 years, $9.75 million contract with a $9 million club option for the 2027 season. So, I mean, if he balls out, that's a great deal. It also includes performance incentives and a $1.25 million signing bonus. Hey, that signing bonus makes up for what they're not paying him this year. The Nationals got the tab for the rest of this year on Victor, besides the league minimum the Mariners are paying, I think, right?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I haven't studied up too much on it, but I like to hear that it's a club option just in case. He's only done it for, like I mentioned, a couple months now. But like I said, happy for him, and it's still a great deal if he does continue to show out like he has been. I mean, he's been an absolute spark plug and great addition to the top of the lineup. And I mean, I can only imagine that outfield, like you mentioned, with him, Julio, and Arozarena. I just hope those guys call for the ball. It might be the way those guys run into each other and don't call the balls. It might be a wild outfield.
Oh, I was thinking the same thing, because we've seen this with Julio. We've seen this with Julio with some immobile outfielders, right? We've seen it. We saw it last year. We saw it earlier this season, and now you got two other guys that are hell bent on getting to that ball. These aren't guys. Yeah. Yes, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, they're all ball hawks, that's for sure, which is a good problem to have.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to those impressive catches, but look, I wonder if him going on Sunday Night Baseball might have had a little bit of pushing that over the edge with Jared Apoto in the front office, but less than $5 million a year. That's, like I said, we're talking Dylan Moore money. Definitely gives you that flexibility though in the outfield going into next year. Hopefully you do sign somebody else, and this is the guy that you can kind of rotate. You can use that DH spot, but he wasn't going anywhere for the rest of this year, and that's what we're focused on here. But congratulations to Victor Robles. I'd just like to say I've been hot on him for a while, so I was happy to see that he'll be around, and I'm with you where it's not too big of a commitment money wise that it handcuffs you in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it could be just I can look at it as a $25 million deal too with Haniger. You know, he could, if he's back on the team, I don't see the M's kicking that can down the road and blowing $20 million. So it can be, you know, 2-for-1 type of deal where, you know, Haniger's making that money and he's making not as much, so it can work out well for what they have to work with in the outfield.
Yeah. But again, great weekend, as any Mariner fan knows. If you missed out, you missed out on some historic pitching, some great plays, some epic home runs, maybe the best first inning frame we've seen from a Mariners team in a long time. So we're going to break out the peaches and cream right after this.
Mariners approved the script. We go down to Arizona, and we present the commercials to all the guys, and they all liked it. Buhner came in. He said, "Yeah, that's fun. I'll do that." Lou said, "Yeah, I'll do it but I don't want to take all damn day." So he said, "Okay, Lou, we'll get you in and out in an hour, I promise." And then Bosio and Randy came in together. So we showed Randy his commercial. You know, we had little storyboards. There's Randy dressed as a carnival knife thrower, you know, and he said, "Yeah, that's cool. I can do that." Bosio liked it, and he said, "Yeah, that's really neat. What do you got for me?" And he said, "Chris, you're going to love this. You're a gruff, tough, right-handed pitcher who doesn't back down to hitters. What's the occupation you're least suited for?" And I show him the picture, a ballerina in a tutu dancing to Swan Lake. And his smile turned to a frown. He goes, "Are you effing kidding me?" Meanwhile, Randy's laughing his ass off. He goes, "Give me that thing. I'm going to hang it up in the clubhouse." And Bosio says, "The hell you are." And he takes it and rips it in half. And he rips it in half again. And it's like, he says, "I'll do a commercial for you guys. I'm not going to do that goddamn commercial." Yes, sir. We got it. So we go back to the hotel. We have a few drinks. We try to come, because we're shooting it in 2 days, come up with some ideas. So we finally come up with an idea that, again, the toughness of Bosio, but instead of a ballerina, he is a dentist who doesn't believe in Novocaine. You know
Right,
that? Yeah.
yes.
So he's pulling teeth from this poor guy. But there was, and you know, they were pretty well received, the commercials. But there was a lesson there, which is, it's okay to have fun with the players, but don't make fun of them.
Right,
You know?
right.
And that's that line in comedy. You know, a cheap laugh isn't always
Yeah.
a good laugh.
Oh God, I gotta edit that part still out there with the A coming in. So Hanno, let's just take this back to Friday night. You got to go down to T-Mobile Park. You went with some people from another country as well. The family. You sat out in center field. How was it? What was your takeaways? Break it on down to me.
It's a long ways from home plate, let me tell you. But I had a good time. Man, I got nothing but good recommendations for that crab roll out there. Boy, that was good. I'm gonna hit that up again. I've heard a lot about it, but boy, it sure hit the spot. But other than that, yeah, it was good baseball. Seeing Bliss start off the game with that bomb, and Miller, I couldn't tell how he was pitching, but the post-game show was sure pumping him up. He was fantastic and one of his best starts of the year, I heard.
Yeah, he was absolutely great. They just weren't touching the fastball. You know, as far as Miller, he seemed to just look whole lot better than maybe what we were seeing too. For me, I'm not complaining too much about him. I mean, there's not much to complain about when we talk about the starting pitching, but I've just noticed just a tick of intensity since the All-Star break. I think maybe that was obviously really good for him. But yeah, Miller comes out. The Mariners only get 4 hits. I know it was like, oh man, they only got 4 hits, but they made them all count. And you're right. Ryan Bliss comes back, gets called back up, hits a 2-run home run, and then he's, you know, sent back down to the minors, in 24 hours, maybe a little bit longer. Obviously when Julio got reactivated, there had to be some roster moves as well. Leo, sorry, what's his name? Rivas. Is it Leo Rivas? Yeah, Rivas. Timely hit in this game, I believe, or is this game one, right? Yes. He's still on the roster, and Bliss goes down. Obviously, probably this wasn't the game. Sorry, I had the wrong one up. That was game two. But Rivas is still on the roster, and Bliss isn't. But then Rivas had a couple of good games. Obviously, Saturday had that great double play. That's where he had the timely hitting, as well as yesterday. What do you think about that move of keeping Rivas up and Bliss going down?
It makes total sense to me. I thought he's looked real solid here now that he's got more of a routine and more of a role, and moving Demo over to third and stuff like that. I've liked what I've seen out of him. I mean, he's more of a natural shortstop, and he's looked really good.
Yeah, he has become more of he's made more of a presence, obviously, this week. And when you end up maybe having one of the best double plays all year, that's coming from MLB's social media. If you go on it, I know when we're scrolling on our social medias, we have a lot of Mariners centric accounts, and this was from the actual MLB account claiming or asking the question, is this the best double play of the year? That was in game two. I was there. I was out at Edgar's. It happened right there in the first inning. I remember seeing it, just turning around and looking at the ninja and whoever was standing next to him, and nobody said anything. It was just a nod of like, did we just see that? That was impressive. Let's talk about that double play in game two.
Yeah, I mean, this whole series had great defensive plays. I mean, I haven't seen the Mariners flash the leather like that in a long time for a full series. But yeah, hard hit ball up the middle where Polo glove flipped it. Not a perfect glove flip, but he was able to get to the bag, barehand it, toe tap, contort his body back to first base, and made a strike of a throw. I mean, it was a great double play.
There it is. Where you got, oops, sorry about that. Had a little technical difficulty. I'm gonna pull up that double play. Let's bootleg this shit if you're watching it on YouTube. It is just a thing of beauty. We got that up on there. There we go.
He is up, that is strong. Next offer, swinging a ground ball up the middle. Diving stop by Polanco. Underhand flip to Rivas in second one. The relay to first.
Oh, man.
With a double play. An amazing double play. Started by Jorge Polanco. Diving stop behind the bag. Flips it backhanded to Rivas. Running across the bag. Rivas barehanded the ball. Danced right over the bag. On to Turner for the 4-6-3 double play. Folks, you won't see anything prettier than that.
Well, were you able to hear Rick Riz right there? Were you getting any of that audio?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great call.
Okay.
Haven't seen a barehanded play like that, from a Mariner shortstop. I'm sure there's been a few, but that just totally reminds me of Omar Vizquel back in the day when he would do that barehanded. He would pretty much jump throw, but what a play by Rivas there.
Yeah, the footwork was amazing. I mean, the toss from Polo, it was like, if that toss is more on the money where you'd think it would go, I don't think the play happens. I think you get maybe the guy at second base, you don't get the turn, but because it was a little bit out here, it gave him the room to improvise.
Yeah, absolutely. Just naturally just take his athletic ability take over. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, I like the old school baseball where you can take out the guy and he would have to jump and make that play, but still, no matter. I mean, he got around the base runner easily and made that great throw. It was an awesome play, probably top 10 Sports Center play for that night, I bet.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like MLB says, is this the best one of the year? I didn't see if it was number one or if it wasn't, but it would have my vote. I mean, there's not another play that I'm seeing from this weekend. I mean, maybe my number two would be the pitch that Luis Castillo threw in game 3, just buckling. Who was that? Was that McNeil in that?
Oh, the right-hander? No, it wasn't him. Who was that? Yeah, that was nasty. Where the guy, he did buckle hard when he swung and it just ran in on him in about 2 feet.
Yeah. I saw what the pitching ninja's done with it. If you haven't seen that, I should pull that out. I'll try to find that up here on my Instagram. But he took the Bohemian Rhapsody and made. Let's see if I can pull that up. It's pretty cool. Let's see. There it is. Double play of the year. Nope, that's the double play one. Anyways, my thing isn't working. Just go check it out, Pitching Ninja. If you listen to this podcast, you probably check out Pitching Ninja online. But yeah, Saturday night's game was amazing too. That was like the kind of victory that you do want to see. 6-0. The timely hittings, getting the pitch count up on the pitcher. I believe the starting pitcher was out of there by like the 4th inning in that game.
Yeah, I mean, the Mariners have seen Sean Manaea quite a bit with his days in Oakland, and yeah, they got him out early. The M's have really done well against left-handers here of late. I mean, they got after him, and then, they just kind of used up the Mets bullpen, which helped him out later on in the series, as we know. And yeah, good to get on Manaea early. Didn't let him settle in. I mean, they said that has been really good his last few starts, so good to get him early and get him out of there.
Yeah, it just felt like the Mariners are on complete cruise control at that time. I mean, the first 2 games, you don't give up any runs. You don't even give up a run until the solo shot, a garbage time solo shot in game 3. Let's talk about the pitching. Obviously Miller did a great job. I was in the house when Logan got a standing ovation after his 7 innings. And then Luis Castillo, I mean, that's the best I think we've seen him all year yesterday in game 3.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen really solid starting pitching for the Mariners this year. That was just outstanding with no runs. We've seen many times where the Mariners pitchers have given up 2 or 3 in the bat and cold, and it's been a dogfight, and they've lost tough games. But throughout this series, they didn't give the Mariners any chance, or the Mets any chance to even get started, and the Mariners bats were hot. So it was a fantastic series, and hopefully more of that to come.
Excuse me, I didn't mean 6-0, 4-0. My bad. Sorry about that. I was thinking of the 6 hits from the game before, but what I liked about that game was you got 3, and then it seemed like the bats quieted down for a while, but you did get that add-on run later in the game, 4-0. You get 7 innings from Gilbert, like we talked about, standing O, and then you can run your game plan, right? You go right to Garcia in the 8th, and you go to Munoz who has a no-hitter into the 12th inning, basically, in his last 11 frames, no hits.
Yeah, he's been on fire, and I mean, they haven't used him lately. It seemed like it's been a while since he got into the game, and when he's been in, he's been just absolutely dominant.
And this guy's walking around with a 1.19 ERA.
That's an all-star for you.
Yeah, it's an all-star. I wonder how long of a streak you'd have to have right now. He'd have to have, just food for thought. And they haven't had to use him as much, which is something that we were very concerned about when they were just popping off 4 and 5 out saves like candy, like a Pez dispenser early on when Scott was having to do that. But let's just say let's say he just doubles this run. Let's get crazy. How much more success would he have to have as a reliever to be in the conversation for Cy Young?
Oh, I don't know. A ton. Save every game for the rest of the year.
Well, we'll see if that happens. Am I talking crazy here? I saw something actually about this. That's why. And I did think it was crazy, but then I thought about it. I go, well, you know what? If you can just go 20 plus innings without giving a hit. I mean, that's something you can't just shake a stick at.
No, I hear you. But when's the last time a reliever's won the Cy Young? It's been a while.
We'll have the stat machine look that up. Last Cy Young winner that was a reliever. Who do you think it is if you could guess?
It would be, I would guess, either Mariano or Eckersley.
It was a little bit more recent than that. It actually happened here in the 2000s. It was Eric Gagne, closer for the LA Dodgers. So it took somebody to be on the juice to do it. That was the last the last person to do it, Eric Gagne.
Oh, he was on the juice. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, he was on the juice. He was all over the juice, riding the juice. But other shit happened this week, and we haven't even gotten to Cal yet. But I want to talk about the guy who was on the other part of that double play, Jorge Polanco. I was there Saturday night, and he made, I think he had a 0 for 16 stretch there again. But Saturday night was hitting the ball really, really hard, and I was like, we were just going, damn, he's looking good. Comes out here, kicks off the offense explosion against the Mets there in Game 3. Seems like he's moving around a lot better at second base after whatever shots he got or days he got off. I know the other day when he had that tumble there at first base, we were kind of going, man, this is looking rough. The way he was bouncing around and diving this series, you would have never thought any of those things happened.
Yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah, I mean, that other great play late in Game 2 where he went towards first base, and the batter got jammed, and the ball spun on him. It was spinning on him, and he almost overran it and barehanded and threw to Turner at first, who made a nice play at first himself. He was web gemming the whole weekend.
Yeah, and I'm really happy for Polo. I mean, he stretches this lineup out so much when he can hit like this, especially with the power threats that he's had. I mean, he just missed another home run by a couple of feet there on Sunday. But if you hadn't tuned into the Seattle Mariners and you did on Sunday, and you're seeing what's going on at second base, you'd go, huh, they solved their second base problem.
As of late, yeah, they sure have. I mean, the way he drove that ball, like you were talking about, just left of center field. I mean, that's a good little poke for a small lefty like that. It was nice to see.
Yeah, and even with him, with the Mariners with their club option next year at $12 million, it's not looking too bad right now.
Yeah, I mean, he had about as worst of a first half in his career, as we all know, and he's definitely turned it around. I mean, power numbers are up there. He's in double-digit home runs, which is good, and he's making the plays at second base. I mean, he looks a little rough at times there, but he sure can make the do-or-die play as of late.
Yeah, and 5 weeks ago, this is such a turnaround. 5 weeks ago, at least 6 weeks ago, maybe 5 weeks ago, there was that one weekend series. Oh, it was against Houston. You and I were there, and somebody in the crowd, won't say who, goes, that's the worst at bat I've seen you take all year. And then he rode the pine a little bit. But let's be fair, he was coming up off of this injury. But that Monday, we've talked about this before, if that Monday, I think, was a day off before they started their road trip, if you'd have heard that the Mariners DFA'd him and just decided to swallow the money or just wanted to move on from him, you might not have been that surprised. Maybe surprised that the Mariners were going to do that money-wise, but as far as like his value on the roster at that time, it wasn't looking very good.
Yeah, you're right. He did look very lost. I mean, just not swinging well, not recognizing the pitches. Yeah, he was a mess, but man, he turned it around at the right time. That's for sure. The Mariner fans are ready for, to stone him, get rid of him, but turned it around, and it's really nice to see. It's been a huge turnaround for him helped, like you said, lengthen the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, you take Victor Robles, and he's turned it around for himself, right? Ever since he's been a Mariner, he's been this guy. Polo is by far the most improved to me since the first half on the Mariners.
Yeah, he sure has. I mean, the thing with the Mariners, at least my take is, it's like when one guy's struggling or in a slump, they're all doing it at the same time. It's like just mind-boggling. When one guy's not going well, the whole team's not hitting well, and it's just usually you have other guys that are going good and can pick you up. But when one's bad, they're all bad, and we've seen that throughout the most of the first half of the year with them not being able to score runs. So hopefully now that they got that figured out.
Yes. I was also thinking about, when I think about this weekend, obviously we got to think about Cal Raleigh. We got to talk about him. Just does his thing here on Sunday. The 2 home runs. When he got up there for that third time with the bases loaded, I was like, oh my God. And he got underneath that ball. He was a little late on it and got underneath it. But imagine if that went out, he would have had a 9 RBI game. Has to settle for a 5 RBI game. I'm sure that's got to feel pretty good about getting those 2 home runs after what happened to him in that Detroit game when he got robbed out there. It's kind of made up for it here. I'm sure he won't feel that way, but I think you said it best. You're just very glad that Cal is doing this on Sunday Night Baseball, so the rest of the nation who's still watching that show can see what's going on with this player, who's, I still think, the most underrated player in all of baseball.
Yeah, when you see the rankings amongst catchers, it's baffling. He's not up there. He's first in home runs. He's a switch hitter. First in throwing guys out. I mean, he plays hurt. He's our leader. He doesn't have the average. Cal who?
Yeah, Lauren Stewart. Cal who?
Yeah, he knows him
It's
well.
our Canadian friend. Is that our Canadian friend? Yes.
He knows him well. But what I really liked about Cal's first home run was just how it all transpired. Arozarena hits that, ground ball to the shortstop who couldn't make the play. And then, could be the third out of the inning. And then Cal doesn't let him off the hook, and puts that next pitch in the seats. That was huge. You don't see the Mariners capitalize on things like that as much when teams give you that extra out. So that was big for me.
Yeah. And Arozarena just getting out of the box and not hot dogging it up to first base makes Lindor, try to speed that throw up. They were seeing how they were showing that on ESPN on the replay, how he couldn't just pull that ball into his body to make the throw. Had to rush that throw. And you're right. Very next pitch, it's in the seats. That's before the pitchers still has not calmed down yet from I should be out of this goddamn inning. That was the pitch. Boom. The shortstop, Lindor, still pouting over there. Next thing you know, now you're paying for it. The baseball gods made you pay. Now the Mariners have been on the other end of that throughout our baseball watching lives. How many times? So it was very sweet. I mean, both of those were absolute no doubters. First pitch. I mean, Cal. I mean, this is the guy. He has always, showed up when the bell rings, when the spotlight's going on. It doesn't surprise any of us that.
No, not at all. He's had so many clutch, big-time hits.
Gave him the post-game interview.
Say that again?
And then, getting to see him on Sunday Night Baseball, getting the interviews is I had to take a picture of it. I've not seen a Mariner get an interview on that show in years.
Oh, I know. Yeah, for him, like you said, to have such a game that he did on Sunday Night Baseball, and hopefully other baseball fans can see that what us Mariner fans have seen for so long. I mean, he's putting up big time numbers. They mentioned how he's hit 25 home runs in 3 straight years, in a big group of great catchers, Piazza and the other guy's slipping my name. But man, he's done it all here. I mean, ever since he kind of struggled his first year a little bit, he's just been a power hitting machine.
Yeah, when you're being compared to what Piazza did that 8 times in a row, but he's the last player to do it at least 3 times. And you watch this game. On top of that, he's holding down what this pitching staff is doing. Historic numbers. This is the guy calling the game with these guys. The only weird thing in this game or this series, or that was missing in this game, if I'd have been like, was we got to see Luis Torrens throw somebody out in this game that Cal was dominating. That was like the one thing that we didn't get to see was Cal throw anybody out. Instead, we got to see former Mariner on the Mets, Luis Torrens. I didn't even realize he was catching until they were showing the replay, and I was like, oh, that was a nice throw. Who did that? Luis threw it?
Yeah, he made Randy Arozarena look like he got a terrible jump. I mean, he had him pegged by a step and a half.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he did get a decent jump too. It was just like, that was just a throw I never ever seen from the guy. I mean, good for him.
Yeah, I mean, I seen him once earlier. I think they were playing in the London game, and saw him, and he looked good behind the plate as well. So, I mean, after bouncing around up and down here in Seattle, I think he went to the Cubs and now is with the Mets, and he's kind of solidified himself as a catcher for those. That's good for him.
Yeah, it's crazy that he's not going to end up on the Mariners this year again at some point. So I'm really tripped out about that. We're used to seeing him, I don't know, get like 1 or 2 little walk-off singles a year. But yeah, I think the other time I saw him behind the dish, I think we talked about it on here. I think he threw out Jesse Winker when Winker was on the Nationals earlier this year. I think we were just like in other Mariner news. Let's see. We got some more comments. Let's check out some comments here. Parmesan LeBron has joined the chat. That's good to know. We'll chime on in here, Parmesan LeBron. It's only $10 a comment for you. Everybody else is free. Let's see. We got a comment here from Stack Pack Matt Adventures. Should have had Julio have some rehab stints at Tacoma and keep Bliss until he's ready to come back. 5Ks, shaking my head. Well, that's a nice little, quick little transition. We talk a little bit about Julio. We all woke up Sunday morning with the news that Julio was back. He was going to be there in the spotlights. We're going to get to see this lineup more together as we envisioned it. And yeah, Julio strikes out 5 times in the game, but besides that, it was on ESPN. I think that's where I feel bad for him. Besides that, you wouldn't even have noticed that he struck out in this game. It was unneeded. Of what, 2 or 3 of these strikeouts were after huge hits, right? I mean, the crowd was still screaming and yelling, and music's playing from Cal's home runs, and then Julio just kind of
killed the rally.
killed the rally. Here's my feeling though, and he makes a good point here. I do feel like a rehab start was needed if the Mariners were really, really struggling and we had no other choice. If this was 3 weeks ago type of offense, type of lineup that the Mariners had, I go, all right, throw them in there. The other argument is, your other DH, Garver, probably struck out 3 times in this game, maybe even 5. Who knows? So as far as it hurting the lineup, it didn't hurt the lineup. Yes, a rally killer, but I do feel like a rehab start would have been probably the smarter way to go.
Yeah, I mean, that used to be the way it always was for players, when they were hurt, to go down and get a few rehab games and just to get their timing back. And obviously he had no timing. If it would have been a tight game, I would have been screaming for Justin Turner to pinch hit for him, no doubt. But you know, he had a rough game. He wanted to get back to play on that big Sunday night game. I guess it was reported that he told the Mariners Friday that he felt good and really wanted to play in that game, so they activated him. So tough game for him. Probably one of his worst games ever. I mean, he had a third of the Mariners strikeouts. They still struck out 15 times that game. But you know what I did like about it though was him getting an off day in the this next day, so we can see how, and the Mariners can see how he's gonna react to playing in a game. So that's one benefit. But as far as him going on a rehab start, yeah, it makes sense, but not with your star player anymore.
So I was wondering, as you were saying that about the 5 strikeouts. I know that's the hat trick. If you do it 3 times, 4 times is the golden sombrero. Do you know, Hanno, what they call 5 strikeouts?
Platinum sombrero.
You are correct. Or Olympic rings.
Yeah.
Well, I like it. The platinum sombrero. The Olympic rings or the platinum sombrero applies to a player striking out 5 times in a game. A horn refers to a player striking out 6 times in a game. The term was coined by pitcher Mike Flanagan after teammate Sam Horn of the Baltimore Orioles accomplished this feat in an extra inning game in 1991. So, so we learn something new every week.
Yeah, absolutely.
But as far as the Julio thing, you're right. If it was a tight game, you might have seen that pinch hit of Justin Turner. I look at him not doing that start or rehab stint down there as a missed opportunity as well. How great is that for places like Everett and Tacoma? You know, the big star goes down, you pack the house. He has a couple at bats, especially if he's going to DH. And I would assume if he's going to be out in the outfield, you'd want to go run around on it a little bit. It did seem kind of rushed. But again, they want to showcase him on here. We got somebody, Lauren chiming in here. He says, this was their one chance for another 20 years to showcase J-Rod. Good job, Scott. Yeah, let's talk about that. We'll get back to more. I don't know if we missed anybody that had a good series. I mean, Randy Arozarena lived on the bases. This guy has completely changed the mojo of the team. If you go down to the stadium, he's already up on the stadium. They already replaced, I believe, Ty France with him. He's right in between Cal Raleigh and our other catcher DH, Mitch Garver. Be interesting if they put Robles' face up on there. You could possibly take Matt Brash off because he didn't play all year, but then that's kind of a low blow to somebody that's hurt all season. I don't know. But Randy Arozarena looks great up there. Got the arms crossed. We put a picture of it on our Twitter if you hadn't seen that. But here's the good news, Hannah. We don't have to make a video about the Mariners taking forever to take down X players. This has got to be like a world record for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been a few years too since they've went out and got somebody at the deadline worth recognition of being put on the up there in First Avenue too. Yeah.
So, like Lauren was saying here, they had to put Julio because it was going to take them another 20 years. I know they started the broadcast off with like, we got to call it out. You know, they show that, you know, last time they were there, Brett Boone was leading the Mariners with home runs, a whole bunch of other like 2004 statistics. I mean, when I was like driving around today, really thinking about it, I was like, man, 2004, that means they missed opportunities to come check out like the King's Court. Like this is before and after Felix Hernandez's entire career. I know that we've seen him a couple times, I think in Chicago and Boston on Sunday Night Baseball, but You didn't have that. You never had when Griffey returned to Seattle. Robinson Cano, Nelson Cruz never appeared on Sunday Night Baseball from here in Seattle. I mean, it's just kind of crazy when you think about it.
Well, I mean, let's be real. The only reason we were on Sunday Night Baseball was we were playing the Mets. This
Yeah,
wasn't a
it
Seattle
is.
thing. This was a big market game, having New York in town.
We got another comment. This live stream is better than Trump and Elon interview just minutes in. Okay, well, no politics here on the show, but thanks. I'm glad. Listen, I'm glad that we're doing a better job than him. Let me just say that. Yeah, I thought the broadcast was good. Yes, and you're right. That is such an East Coast bias game. I don't know how many times I've seen the Red Sox and the Yankees on there. I thought they just had a regular season on there. I swear they're on there like 3 or 4 times a game. Out here on the West Coast, Dodgers get a lot of the games. But yeah, we've seen I don't know how many Midwest games. It's just interesting that they don't come out here, and I think they ought to be out here more. I think the Mariners did a great job of making the decision to where their city connects to. So, give them something fresh. I also like that because those are the at-home Friday only uniforms, so to speak. Well, now you broke that mold. Now you can just pop them out whenever you want. It did look kind of strange on Sunday to see them out there in those, but I enjoy those more than I like those cream ones.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the creams, but yeah, Major League Baseball just likes to, show the big dog teams or these teams, that have rich histories and that have big markets. And I mean, it's great to see, the Mariners on there. I like Kansas City. I'd like to see them showcase, these young stars. Bobby Witt Jr. is a huge player in the league. MLB just doesn't do a good job of, promoting its good young players. There's a lot of good young players on other teams that, just aren't being showcased.
And Lauren Stewart chimes in here and says, "How dare they miss the Dustin Ackley era?" Exactly. Let's see. They swapped it out because they thought the Mets were going hot. Trade deadline. Good job. Yeah, I thought the broadcast again was when you watch Sunday Night Baseball versus like we've been relegated to what, Apple TV. Is that pretty much the one that we've been on every time? And I know people, you hate it. A lot of people other do. And it's like, well, at least they're showcasing the Mariners. Like that ESPN should be showcasing the Mariners. And I feel like the Mariners blew off some steam there about it there. I want to feel like that on Sunday. I mean, putting up 12 runs. And you see this. Go ahead.
I was just going to say we couldn't have asked for a better game. I mean, everything was positive about Seattle. They were just absolutely destroying the Mets. So the whole broadcast was basically about the Mets instead of all the New York bias and the East Coast bias,
Yeah. I did listen to a little WFAN today and a little Michael K, and it felt great. It definitely felt great. And look, again, we talked about this homestand that we just had here, when we were kicking off the shows that we're going to start, or the shows that we were doing right before the homestand started. We wanted 6-3, Hannah. We got it. We didn't get it exactly how we thought we'd get it, but we got it. You take 2 from Philly. Arguably one, if not the best team, coming in here. Sure, they weren't playing too good, but you look at that roster at any point, they could just snap out of it. You take 2 or 3 from them. Then this Detroit series, you were one, like you said, bad play away from getting swept, but you also could look at it and think about that robbery that happened to Cal, and it could have You could add 2 games. Maybe you could have got one. So I feel like the 1 out of 3 was fair from the baseball gods, don't you?
Oh yeah,
It
definitely.
was a fair trade. And then this was an absolute domination of the Mets. Imagine if you traveled out here to check out your Mets in this series.
Oh,
You
I
better
don't know.
enjoy some food and the good weather, because this was had to be the absolute drizzling shits. You don't even see Edwin Sugar Diaz once in this series.
No. I don't know about you on Saturday night when you were there, but Friday night there was a nice contingent of some Mets fans in the building.
Oh yeah, there's definitely they travel pretty well. I will give them that. Let's see what else we have here. ESPN doesn't care about baseball. They only put on the teams they know. Well, I think, yeah, there's definitely a bias on who gets to play. And yeah, I mean, Baseball Tonight used to be, they call it Baseball Tonight because it was on every night, right? It's like barely on anymore on ESPN. I'm not even sure they have that show.
Yeah, I have no idea if I want to watch baseball stuff. I go to the MLB network now, you know?
Yeah, ESPN should call it, like, instead of Baseball Tonight, it should be baseball. Well, you got to guess which night, you know? That's what it should be fucking called. We're gonna do a quick little break, and then we're gonna wrap it up by just taking a quick look here at the road trip that the Mariners are about to start. And you know what? Since the last time ESPN was here for Sunday Night Baseball, this guy was rolling around with these tips.
We got 4-time Gold Glove winner, 3-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger, and look, the reason why I bleached my hair back in the 2000s. What's up, Brett?
I love it. I love it. You had the hair, huh?
That was like my college look.
That was my thing. My kids still tease me about it. They said, "Dad, why don't you go bleach your hair?" I said, "Dad's getting a little old for that." I said, "That was just a phase I went through. It was kind of a shtick." And I used to tell people when I'd bleach my hair, I'd say, the city expects it. So just don't worry about it. Get out of my way. Every 3 weeks, I had my routine.
Did you get your hair done by somebody here?
I did. No, I did. I had a young lady who would come to the ballpark, actually, and I had a barber chair. It was a hair bleaching station. And there was a couple guys on the Mariners that would get it done, too. But every 3 weeks, she would come in. We had a little office space off the clubhouse, and I'd get it done. So that was fun. It brings back pretty cool memories.
Yeah, I'm actively burning any pictures that I have with me with that bleached hair. Unfortunately, I'm in somebody's wedding, our friend Amishon and Britt's wedding, like photo album with it. So I can't get to that one. So that's the lone one that's still out there. Maybe one day I'll be putting in a bid on an estate sale to get that thing back. Dark joke. So as far as this road trip, it seems like it ramps up in layers, you would think. You got the Detroit Tigers that you should go in and you should get a 2 out of 3 out of them. We thought that here in Seattle. It didn't happen. You're going to see Scooble. Then you go to Pittsburgh. They've had a good season. They seem to be a little bit on that like wobbly state right now. But you're going to go in there and see that dominating pitcher. What's that guy's name? Sorry.
Paul Skeens on Friday. That's an Apple TV game. And then we're going to see our old friend Marco Gonzalez on Sunday.
Ooh, right-handed lineup coming at you. So again, you go Detroit, you go Pittsburgh, and then you finish it off with, arguably the team you got to beat to win it all probably this year, the LA Dodgers down in LA. I'm going to be down there for at least Tuesday and Wednesday's game. I do not know what's going on Monday's game. I was not given any tickets to that game, and I looked up some tickets to buy for that game. It's $125 for nosebleeds on Monday night. I tried to look up what the hell is going on. I don't know. I don't understand why the Monday night game is so expensive. I'm interested in what they got to be giving something away, or something's got to be going on for a Monday night game. I mean, Monday night game in Seattle, that's the 10.
Yeah, I'm interested too.
So you get two tough pitchers going at you, and a pitcher that's probably out for some redemption, right? Against the Mariners here in the first 6 games. Then you got the Dodgers for 3, 9-game road trip. Given who you're playing, the travel, those two pitchers that we know about, I would be happy with a 5-4 in this window of 9. I would hope for 6-3, but at 5-4, I would be acceptable.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, you got to keep pace with the Astros, so you gotta want a little bit more. So yeah, I think the minimum's got to be 6-3. The Astros just don't seem to be losing right now, and you got to keep pace with them. I know they're down in Tampa for their first series. I haven't looked any further, but yeah, you got to get off to a good start against Detroit, and you are facing, the Skeens, who's been fabulous as a rookie pitcher. He's a phenomenon, kind of like Kerry Wood was back in the day, and then facing Marco, and then the Dodgers are the Dodgers, getting Mookie back here soon with their good starting pitching, and seeing Teo again. So, and Pittsburgh's lost 7 in a row. So, we'll see what happens when we get there. But I hope the M's got to win series. We've talked about it all year long, and I just feel like it's go time now, and they got to continue to do that to stay close to the Astros.
Yeah, as you were saying that, you're like, I'm not exactly sure who they have. I put in a little effort, Hanno, and I looked up the Astros schedule, and I don't really want to focus too much on their shit on here, but let me just pull this up for you. So during this time of this road trip, the Astros are going to be playing the Rays as they're playing right now. Then they play the White Sox for 3 at home. Then they get the Red Sox. So in this 9 games, you Rays, Red Sox, White Sox. I would say the Mariners got a tougher schedule here in the next 3 series for sure.
Yeah, and I believe the Astros just swept the Red Sox. They're kind of struggling right now. So I mean, yeah, it's to keep. I mean, it's looking good for them this next 9 games. That's for sure. Definitely a tougher schedule for the Mariners.
Yeah, but after those 9 games, it gets a little tougher, you would think, for the Astros. They have to go to Baltimore, they have to go to Philly, and then they play the Royals. So
yeah, I heard some. I did hear today that the Mariners have the 22nd easiest schedule and or toughest schedule, which is good, and the Astros have the 15th toughest schedule. So for the rest of the year, so that's good news for the Mariners. But they got to get it going and start off tomorrow night, against the Tigers.
Well, we got some insight from Parmesan or SC. Monday is Hello Kitty night. That's why it's 125 for the nosebleeds. Wow. Makes sense. Somebody else that goes, Hello Kitty night. What the hell? Let's see. Tuesday's night game next week is Oscar bobblehead night down at Dodger Stadium. I'll have to get down there early and get one of those. Also, though, the Mariners is great as we've been playing. Yes, we got another 3 Tritons comment here. That's right. The Mariners just kind of reminds me of like when we went on those streaks in the last couple of years. We think we're playing great, we're playing good, and you make no kind of separation in this situation or any ground on what you're trying to do with the Astros. So you're right. You got to win these series. Here's the interesting part of this. Now that the Mariners and Astros have been, taking care of business, you possibly could get a wild card team from the AL West. We were saying we didn't think so. We didn't think that there was a way. But you look up at the standings right now, it's only a couple game separation with the Mariners or the Astros, depending on who's in the wild card spot. Like as of right now, as we're recording this, the Astros won a game, so they're a half game ahead of us. So right now the Mariners are not in the wild card, but only a couple games back. And there was quite a bit of separation just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, they have made some hay. It's the same kind of scenario with Minnesota and Cleveland. Cleveland stumbled here lately, and Minnesota's caught up to them. I think they're about 2 games ahead as well. So one of those two teams could still be in the wild card. And then who's in the third wild card? The Royals.
Yes, the Royals are.
Yeah, so they play pretty good the whole year. So yeah, just got to keep playing good and win series.
This also got sent in. I'm gonna play this on. It's an actual video, because we were talking about the home run catch by the Tiger center fielder on the Mariners, and it was like this was sent in and said, "Don't forget about the one that Junior brought back at the old Tiger Stadium." And it is a thing of beauty. I wanna play it. Well, let's check it out. You're always up for a good old Griffey robbery, aren't we, here on this podcast? Do you know who the hitter was that he robbed?
Mickey Tettleton?
No, I believe it was a young Luis Gonzalez. Let's see. There he is. You got it up there on the stream. Let's watch out. Let's watch this thing of beauty right here. Here we go. Fuck it. Let's put the broadcast on. Who cares?
Hunter with 28 stolen bases. High fly ball, well tagged this time, and Junior going back to the track. The wall makes the leap and makes the catch. Amazing catch by Junior as he takes a home run away from Luis Gonzalez. Oh my! Perfect timing, and Junior receiving a standing ovation here. And you know what, Tiger fans, what a marvelous catch by Junior.
What a catch. And even the players on the field are waving at Junior. That's one of the best catches I've seen Junior make, and he's made so many of them, but I think this is one of his best right here.
Look at his timing, that he scales the wall, jumps as high as he can at the apex of his leap, takes that home run away from Luis Gonzalez. What a catch by Ken Griffey Jr.
Holy cow.
You know why he is all those gold gloves now.
God damn, I love listening to Dave. It always makes me chuck. It always makes. Whoa! It also makes. Sorry. It also makes me chuckle to hear Ron Fairley, Captain Obvious. There.
Yeah, watching the Mariners with Griffey back in the day, that was just can't miss TV. I loved it every night.
I forgot about those short sleeve road uniforms there. Yeah, I forgot about those.
Yeah, there was a time when a lot of teams had those sleeveless jerseys.
Yeah, I think one of our high school uniforms had sleeveless jerseys, if I can remember correctly.
Yeah, the home ones.
Yeah, I know. I used to have a shirt underneath that had a hole in the armpit, so I always hated wearing those. Oh man. Seattle Public Schools, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we have one more. This happened to us last show. We're trying to get the hell out of here. We got Monday Night Raw going on. I gotta get to. We got some here on the text screenshots. Oh, it's a picture of the Hello Kitties with us right underneath. That's beautiful. Anyways, this is our episode for today. Or tonight, or whenever the hell you're getting this. Thanks again for liking, subscribing, and all that good shit. We'll be back Thursday at some point. Oh, thank you. The hole in the armpit, otherwise known as air conditioning. You're right. It is. Yes, I was an air conditioned player. Yeah, but we'll be back Thursday, hopefully talking about a series win, or else we won't be having peaches and cream. Hannah will be back to, rotten eggs and sour milk.
Well, we got to come back to reality because, face it, this last series we were playing over our skis. The series before we were underperforming, so we're about right in the middle. So hopefully we play a good series. I mean, if we get that type of pitching again, it's going to be a good series for the Mams.
Yeah, we're in a duke out with the team that we did want to be in a duke out with the rest of the way. You look over the AL East; they got one just like this going on over there with the Yankees and the Orioles, and now the Central's kind of tightened up a little bit. Cleveland's not quite the team they were, but that's good news because the Mariners could stay on this pace right now. I still feel like there's an outside chance that somebody could catch one of these AL Central teams, and maybe, just maybe, you could get that bye into the first round, into the divisional round. So that's something else I'm just going to keep my eye on.
Yeah, good call.
All right, well, that's it. Also, if you want that street cred for rocking the rye bread, hit up at simply.core. That's at simply.core. Also, check out In the Clutch promo code Nasty Boys. Save yourself some money. Get yourself a Hot Dogs from Heaven t-shirt or the new Randy Arozarena shirt that they got. Looking pretty sharp. Go check that out. Again, thanks for liking and hitting the socials. Hanno, with that being said, you know what time it is. Charge. We'll end on that comment. Great episode, my dude. Go Mariners. And charge from our friend up in Canada. All right, that's it. Little bonus.